That's crazy. All those years of me, you know, assisting my great granny, helping her in the shower, scrubbing her back, helping her dry her skin off, put on her powder, and put on her nightie and her nightgown and all that stuff. I used to see my grandmother's titties. I used to see my grandmother naked. I didn't think about that till now. I'm about to turn 33, and not once have that thought crossed my mind that I used to see my grandmother naked, because it never registered as that, right? It registered as me doing for my granny what she couldn't do for herself, right? Helping her out in the kitchen. That's when I was always going over and watching my aunties and my granny and my other grandmother cook. My dad's stepmom, we call her Tanti, but she's also my grandmother, my last living grandmother. Bless her. I love her, miss her. She got some long, beautiful hair now. Yeah, she going to the holistic doctor. Remember I was telling y'all about her? Yeah, anyway. No wonder I like older women. But my mother died. My mother passed when she was, I think she was 19 when she had me. So that's why I'm, the way I am. I got a young heart with an old soul. My great granny and my mommy, and then my work ethic is from my father, right? My smoking is from my grandfather, because my father told me, my grandfather told them he smoked enough for everybody in the family, so nobody in the family ever smoked until me. So I guess, my father. Me smoking probably put another wedge in between me and my father's relationship, but I don't think that there should be anything that should come between me and my father's relationship. I feel like, it could be better, but it also could be worse. If I didn't have my father the way I did in my life, I wouldn't be able to be on the internet today doing what I'm doing right now, because, a lot of people aren't able to have that discipline and that work ethic, so they're only able to copy off of others and be inspired by others. That's why I say I'm the realest nigga on the internet, because I'm not on here telling you lies. I'm not on here trying to take your money and run. I'm not on here trying to take your little, people like to call it chump change. People like to call it pocket change. They like to downplay the working man, the working woman. They like to downplay the working class, but the working class is the same people that's gonna go and pay for the season tickets on the basketball seats, and they're gonna fill up the rest of the seats that the rich people ain't gonna pay for, right? Because if the rich people only pay for their season tickets and no other seats, and all the working class people, they just enjoyed the game at home, or enjoyed the game at their friend's house or through parties or whatever, and never went to one game, then the game wouldn't even be, nationalized. They wouldn't even be on TV, because it wouldn't be enough money going into it to make it the way make it to where it can be a national sport. It can be nationalized as, oh, it's so important that now the entire country or the entire world is tuned in, right? So y'all need to stop playing and downplaying on the working class, because whenever I see somebody or a team, fixing the electricity or fixing the transformers, I always go up to them and I say, yo, I appreciate y'all and I thank y'all for, even if it's not in my area that they're doing the work in, right? If I ever see them, I always, pay my respects, because nobody ever does that with them. They always treat electricity, they treat the water, the plumbing, they treat all the shit that you use constantly. You treat it like it's nothing until you need somebody to fix it, and you're like, oh shit, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that, I need to call somebody, I need to do this, I need that, I need a handyman, I need a plumber, I need an electrician, I need HVAC, right? That's when now it's a problem, right? So you can't downplay the working people because they don't make whatever you make, or they don't do whatever you do. That's why I respect everybody, all ages. That's why I say I'm the bridge, because I learned and I soaked up all that knowledge from my elders, when I was forced. I didn't want to go to the parties and stuff like that with my dad when we was living in Brooklyn. I didn't want to go in Trinidad, probably, yeah, because partying is, that's what we do. And probably in Brooklyn, I wanted to be with my father. And it don't matter where my father was going. If my father was going to space, I was going to be excited about going to space with my father, right? So, I take that as I had an advantage to be around all those adults, right? When I was going to church in Far Rockaway, New York with my auntie, I went to church and it was only adults there because it was literally from 12 o'clock to 3 in the fucking morning, and you're going to church, 3 in the a.m. and you're going to church. So, it was only grown people there, and it was a Haitian church, and that's when I got spoiled on Haitian women. Because, oh my God, they were, man. Anyway, let me not get off track. So, a lot of people, like children my age at that time, y'all was probably home playing video games or eating a whole bunch of fast food. I was in the streets with my father at the parties in Brooklyn till the sun came up the next day, and then we was going home, right? I remember falling asleep at parties, like nodding off, and they would wake me up and give me, the I don't know how to describe it in like American language, but the scraper, where you get the pick comb and you scrape it like that. The grater, the cheese grater, yeah, the cheese grater. That's still my favorite instrument because that's what they would give me, and I would play the hell out of that cheese grater, boy. I'd be the best cheese grater. You would think I was born in the rhythm section. Little old me with the grown-ups, got them dancing, because it's a very loud instrument, and if you can't play it properly, they're gonna take it from you and give it to somebody else, or it's just not gonna be no cheese grater for that night. But somebody's gonna be on the cheese grater, somebody's gonna be on the bottle and spoon, somebody's gonna be on something else, right? As long as you have a bottle and spoon, you can make a beat and they can have a party. Because somebody in there could sing, and somebody else in there go back up there singing, and everybody else in there go either hymn along or melody along or dance along, and it's just gonna be a nice little time. But yeah, I can't believe I didn't ever think about that until today. I used to see my grandmother naked, but it never registered because I used to sleep in the same exact bed with her. Like every single day after school, I would go to my granny's house. Every single time I was on punishment, I would go to my granny. I wouldn't be able to go outside and play, but I could go to my granny's house. Because if I couldn't go to my granny's house, I think I don't remember all the times where I would have like that fit, but I feel like I would have a fit. And my father, his only remedy to calm me down, especially seeing that I didn't have, my mother there, and I cried so much when she passed, not knowing what was going on, because they say babies don't know anything, but I feel like I knew everything that was going on. So I was always allowed to go to my granny's house, right? And as I was at my granny's house, my aunt's was right next door, so I would always spend time over there whenever I was in trouble. And it didn't really matter to me because I didn't have I didn't really have friends, and the friends that I did have, Boosty and Sayo, they would always come over where I was at to my grandmother's house, and in a way I would kind of cheat my punishment by going downstairs, but I wouldn't be able to leave the landing, right? So we would just be hanging out down there. They would go off and go do whatever they're doing, but then I'd go back up and hang out with my grandmother and hang out with my aunts and all that, and hang out with the dogs. Me being on punishment was a good thing because it allowed me to be around so much grown women, and to be not lustful over women, but to be able to understand women, learn from women, And learning from women taught me about women. It just expanded everything, and it gave me something to hold on to when I came over to America. And losing my grandmother, I didn't know, I think I spoke to her maybe twice when I came to America, because I remember telling her that I was going to buy a ticket when I turned 13, because I was 11. I told her I was going to save up my money and buy her a ticket when I turned 13, and send for her to come up to America. She laughed and she was going along with it like it was going to happen, just entertaining my childish heart. She knew exactly what was happening, and maybe that was her telling me goodbye. Because when you watch, TVs and movies and stuff like that, whenever they're talking to the child and, they're getting a divorce or the parent has to leave, they're always, laughing with the child and telling them they're going to see them later. And yeah, I miss my granny, yo.